Hey, this video is for Greek class, so you might want to grab your Croy textbook and follow along with chapter 4. And I, again, am using the definite articles from chapter 5, and so if you want to grab them in chapter 5 and bring them back to chapter 4 and just write them in your book in chapter 4, that would be great. These are second declension nouns, and so you're beginning to get the hang of nouns, and the good thing is second declension nouns follow some of the same things that we've already learned about nouns in Greek. So all nouns in Greek have gender, which could be masculine, feminine, or neuter. All of them have numbers, singular, plural. All of them have these cases. Nominatives that are the subjects, genitives that show possession, datives that are indirect objects, accusatives that are direct objects, and vocatives that are direct addresses. We learned mostly feminine nouns with the first declension nouns, and now we're switching over to the masculine and the neuter ones. The second declension Greek nouns are typically masculine and neuter gendered nouns. We're going to start with the masculine ones. I am encouraging you to learn the definite article. If there was one thing I would learn, it would be this, because this is going to be the easiest way to recognize them and the most consistent way to recognize them. The masculine ones follow an O sound, an A-O, instead of an A-A sound, an A-A versus an A-O. So there's related, these are kind of like the lower class, the short and the long vowels that we have in English. They also have that in Greek. And so the masculine ones follow this pattern. This is the definite article. The nominatives are ha, to, to, ton is the accusative, hoi, tone, tois, tus. Of these, I pay most attention to the nominatives, the ha and the hoi. They parallel the hey and the hi that you had in the feminine in the first declension. So these are the second declension. These are masculine. These are what are going to be most consistent. These are from chapter 5, but we're going to go ahead and use them in chapter 4 to help us out a lot. This is what I would pay attention to, because that is what tells you where the subject is in the sentence. And so here's some examples. You have this sentence here, ha adelphos, graphe, namon. These are words now from the vocab that you have so far, including chapter 4. The verb is graphe. So the first thing you do is you find the verb. Graphe is third singular. So he, she, or it writes, because graph, like graphing paper, right? And so you're looking for something that could be the subject, and you know because of the definite article. Ha adelphos, the brother, writes what? Law, or the law, or a law. So the brother writes a law is probably the best translation of this, because there's no definite article for the accusative. So the brother writes a law. But could I change the word order? Absolutely. Graphe, there's still my verb. Ha adelphos, namon, what can be the subject? Ha adelphos, keep that definite article and that noun together. The brother writes a law. It's the same sentence, just in a different order. How about this one? Graphe, namon, ha adelphos. Where's my verb? Graphe. Who is the he or she that is writing? The ha adelphos, the brother, you got that. The brother writes a law. It doesn't matter the word order. That's just not what matters in Greek. We don't care about word order at all. Instead, we are focused on finding that nominative, that subject. And so the definite article is what helps us out a lot. Here is then the second declension for the word logos, which means word. So ha logos is the nominative, to logu is the genitive, to logo is the dative, and then ta logon. The vocative is actually different in the second declension, and so lage, and this is one I would pay attention to because you get a lot of people calling out to Jesus, something like Lord, they'll say Kyrie, and so that is one you see sometimes. Hoi lagoi, ton lagon, tois lagois, tus lagus, and then lagoi is the same as the nominative, which is often the case for the vocative, just without a definite article. So the thing I would learn if I were you is the definite article. Ha, to, ton, hoi, ton, tois, tus, because that's the thing that's going to be most consistent. It's going to help you out most frequently. We also learned, though, in the second declension, the neuters, because the neuters are so similar in a lot of ways. I'll show you a chart in just a second that helps you out. One of the great things about the neuters in the definite article is that the nominative and the accusative are the same. So it makes it easier to remember. But then it also makes it a little more tricky to distinguish this in sentences and to translate it. So ta, to, ta, like a slightly longer sound. Tone, tois, ta. These are them. And so side by side, you can see why we learn the masculine and the neuter together, because the genitive and the dative are actually exactly the same for both the singular and the plural. So these are the definite articles from chapter 5. I would go to chapter 5 if I were you and grab it in my textbook and take it back then to chapter 4. And chapter 4, for me, it's page 19. It's paragraph number 24. I would just fill those definite articles in right here immediately so that you can see them all the time. And I would learn the definite article. The second most important thing I'd pay attention to is the nominative. The ha and the hoy, the ta and the ta are the things I would pay attention to, because that's going to help me find the subject in my sentence. Here's what the neuter declined noun looks like. This is the word child. Neuters tend to have this ending of on that is a little bit different, or whatever a neuter ends with, you just have to go with it. They're the slightly odd ones in Greek. But the definite article is helping me out, because ta, teknon, tu, teknu, to, tekno, ta, teknon, teknon, ta, tekna, tone, teknon, tois, teknois, ta, tekna, and tekna. These are them. This is a fully declined neuter noun that means child. So you can see how the nominatives and the accusatives are the same. That's going to help you for recognizing form, but then it will provide some challenges in translation. So we'll have to pay a little more attention when it comes to neuter nouns. Let me show you some examples here. Ha theos, genoske, ta erga, ton anthropon. God, well, I should find the verb first. Don't just go left to right. My verb is genoske. He, she, or it knows. So I'm looking for something that can be the subject. Ha theos. The definite article and the noun go together. That is telling me it's the subject. So the, you don't say the God, even though it says the. You just say God knows, and then follow out the rest of the sentence, and you'll be fine. Ta erga ton anthropon. The works of humans. God knows the deeds or the works of humans. God's in the nominative, works in the accusative, humans is in the genitive. But I'm telling you, if you can find the subject, it's going to really make everything else flow. Now, as always is the case, it doesn't mean that it has to be in this word order. That's very typical for us. But how about this? Ta erga, ton anthropon, ha theos, genoske. Do the same thing. Find your verb, genoske. He, she, or it knows. Who knows? Ha theos, because you know the definite article. You know that that's in the nominative and it's masculine. God knows the deeds of humans. God's in the nominative. How about this one? Genoske, ta erga, to anthropon, ha theos. Genoske is my verb. He, she, or it knows, and then I've got to search all the way to the end of the sentence to find the thing that's in the nominative. The nominative is always, always, always the subject, and it's still God. God knows the deeds of human. The word order does not matter in Greek. I can't say that enough times. What's in the nominative is the subject. How about this? Here's the sentence that says, ha kurios didaske lagus tois teknois urnu. Got all of the different cases in this sentence. I'm going to find my verb first, which is didaske. He or she or it teaches. What can be the subject? It has to be the thing in the nominative. The only thing in this sentence that can be in the nominative is ha kurios. The Lord teaches words to the children of heaven. The Lord teaches words to the children of heaven. Lord is in the nominative. Then everything else we're going to kind of work our way through. Words are in the accusative. That's the next most important thing to learn after nominatives. The datives are these indirect objects, and they often have that iota in them, so that helped me recognize it. Tois, teknois, children, and then the genitive, the thing that it shows possession, they're children of heaven. They're children who belong to heaven. But I can put that same sentence in any order. Tois, teknois, urnu. Ha kurios, didaske, lagus. Didaske is still my verb. He or she or it teaches. Ha kurios is still my subject. The Lord teaches words to the children of heaven. We'll put it in our order, in the order that makes the most sense in English, because we rely on word order. So you're going to have to move the words around as you're translating them to make a good sentence in English. But you do that by finding your verb and putting your subject in front of it. The Lord teaches, and sort everything out that's left. Here's the same sentence. Didaske, tois, teknois, urano, ha kurios, lagus. How do I know it's the same sentence? Because my verb, didaske, he, she, or it teaches, and then my noun has to be The Lord. The Lord teaches words to the children of heaven, or the Lord teaches to the children of heaven words, you could say in this case if you wanted to. But it's not word order that matters, it's finding that nominative. That's what you're going to do every time. Okay, this is side by side the definite articles and the declining of both the masculine and the neuter. I'll run through them real quickly for you. So for the masculine, you have ha, lagos, tu, lagu, to, lago, ton, lagon, lage. Hoi, lagoi, ton, lagon, tois, lagois, tus, lagus, lagoi. And then in the neuter, you have ta, teknon, tu, teknu, to, tekno, ta, teknon, teknon. Ta, tekna, tone, teknon, tois, teknois, ta, tekna, tekna. So those are them. This is chapter 4. It follows the same idea. I also have a short video on how to translate them now that you can recognize them. But you can see how the just nouns function in Greek. And once you get the hang of them, you should be able to do them. This is again a short video. You can watch it another time or two. After you've watched it, if you still have questions, feel free to email me or bring those questions to class and we can talk about them then. Okay, great.